Dr. Billy Garvey, that was awesome, that episode 86. Heat, Michael Mann's Heat, and attachment. What are people going to learn this week?
Yeah, possibly the most important one we've done, which is a bit silly to do it, number 86. But yeah, this is the underpinning of all of our relationships. It's the most important thing that we will guide our kids on. It devastates adult lives, kids' lives. A lot of the kids I see have fractured or insecure attachment, and it's never too late to build it back.
Yeah, we may sound a little bit flat, I've just realised, but it's because it's such a deep episode. It really is. It really challenged a lot of things I thought about, but particularly around the film Heat. Now, a banging film, like amazing Michael Mann film, and you go deep on it and you really do run a brand new lens over it. I think it's the best movie theory work you've done since maybe Pretty Woman or Finding Nemo.
It had something else in common with Pretty Woman as well, but I might have pushed you a bit too far.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So well done. Enjoy the episode, guys. Lots of questions and stories, please,
and
for
tips.
the part 2.
Yep.
Tips, tricks, stories. We love reading them out. Makes part 2 a richer experience. Thanks, Dr. Billy Garvey.
Hi, I'm Billy, a developmental paediatrician. And I'm Nick, a developing parent. We're going to use scenes from iconic movies to talk about how we best support our kids. This is Pop Culture Parenting.
Hey, don't let your mother smell that beer on your breath. She'll take it out on me.
I don't want to see you again for the rest of my whole life. I don't want to see anybody else either.
Who is your daddy and what does he do?
Just use your best judgment. We trust you.
Good morning, Dr. Billy Garvey. How are you?
Good, Nick. How are you going?
Good. Oh, you're so calm when I say hello to you.
Mate, I said to you, I texted you, I think, yesterday or the day before, I'm like, the week we record of the fortnight is always just nuts for me, but I just really look forward to it.
Yep.
It's like a more exciting week for me because I have this like protected time with you where everything stops, phones are off, and we just get to sit here and try and be funny and talk about our journey looking after these little kids.
And particularly part 1 episodes, there's less pressure.
Totally, yeah.
I mean, I know you do all the theory and the build-up, and that's all of the work.
It's way less pressure. No,
but there's less pressure on us.
Yeah. And I'm trying not to take it personally that the part 2s have slightly more listeners. But yeah, I love it, mate. It's very intentional. Like it's funny actually. We got some feedback recently. We love the feedback. It keeps us going. Thanks for all the amazing reviews that people put because that helps. But yeah, we got some feedback recently that was like, I think it was on the fussy eating one. It was like, I'm 30 minutes in and you still haven't explained anything. And I was like, I felt really bad. And I was like, well, 99% of the feedback is they like this, but we're intentionally going on a journey together. Mm-hmm. If you just want the like what to do, then we've written a lot of content for Raising Children's Network, and there's other sources just to be like, cool, what are the 5 steps or how do we support this thing? But what you and I are trying to do is something that's really important in behaviour change is that we form a partnership together, but also a partnership with this community. Mm-hmm. And we hear a lot that people feel like they're journeying with us. And to be honest, I feel like I'm journeying with a lot of people in the community, which is awesome because we have these stories that we hear and it makes me feel good about it. It makes me feel it's okay, the mistakes I'm making, gives me tips. Like, it's amazing.
Billy, neither of us are at the final destination, that's for sure.
No. Yeah, totally. And that's the beautiful thing is that we hear about these challenges people having with teenagers. Like I've just had this week, and I'll probably talk about a couple of them, where I've just seen heaps of 16, 17, 18-year-olds.
Oh, that's late. So you see kids up to 18?
Yeah. And if hopefully no one from the hospital's listening, but sneak a few older ones in. So,
okay.
So, well, you just fall off this cliff in mental health when you leave paediatric services because it is very hard to see a psychiatrist. So we hold, well, GPs, I'm being 100% honest, GPs hold them. But, there's a few of us that sneak in a bit of, I didn't realise you'd left high school. So what do you mean you finished year 12 last year? So, and some gorgeous teenagers that just I've met some kids this week or some kids that I've known really well for a few years, and I'm just like, I don't think I was where you're at in my early 30s. And they're just like, there's this beautiful thing that's happening. I think because people are getting better at supporting social and emotional development, that we are understanding where the science is in this, and that's what you and I are trying to do. Where this is not the lived experiences in our journey, but a lot of this stuff is not my opinion; it's the evidence.
Yeah, the evidence.
So it's a beautiful thing. But the challenge is that we're seeing just an increase in mental illness in all of our clinics, our communities, our emergency presentations.
Yep. Well, actually, Billy, I was reading a little bit about that sort of research this morning on the way here.
Yeah.
I have found this book.
Wow.
It is amazing.
Yeah.
It is written by yourself.
Yes. Yeah, I've always just peppered it in. I feel really bad just big noting.
It's not big noting, mate.
Yeah.
I've read it. It's bloody useful.
Thank you.
I haven't read all of it. I've told you that.
I'm so glad you finished on useful. Useless.
But it's mate, I know we're going to probably talk about this a little bit later on and in other episodes. I might do a couple of other pieces. I don't know many people that have written a book, and I don't know many people that have written a book that would be so useful for a parent. I'm not even selling the book.
Well, no, it's very funny, mate, because I don't think I've told the story on the podcast, but I just before the Churchill, actually, last year, I got an email and I actually took it to one of my colleagues and close friends that I work in the behaviour clinic with, actually. His wife's an author, and I was like, is this a stitch up? I've just been sent this email, to ask if I'm interested in writing a parenting book. And he called his wife, who's an author, on loudspeaker in the clinic room. And she's like, oh my God, that's one of the biggest literary agencies in the world.
Yep.
And so I had this meeting with them, and it's really funny. This amazing woman called Sophie, actually, from Penguin, pitched the title of the book and the synopsis to me. Now, most people out there that are authors know that that's not usually how it happens. So I've kind of had this easy pass where I hadn't written the book and I was asked, to do it, and I got this beautiful guidance, and they kind of, especially Tara and Sophie, believed in it before I did. And then I was like, so the book is similar to the podcast. It's just how do we get better help out there? It's just a different format. There's a third format that's the actual one that I really want to get to, that you and I have been speaking about for years, which is all the families that are really drowning. Now, they don't have time to listen to you and me talk for 2 hours on a podcast or time to read a parenting book. The parenting book is really unique, and very quickly what I've tried to do is put the evidence in a way that's helpful, practical strategies, but it's stories. It's more than 10, but it's built, each chapter is built around a beautiful family I've met.
And what's the title of the book, Billy?
Yeah, the 10 things I wish you knew about your child's mental health.
It is exactly that. It is pretty much 10 patients that you sort of work through from start to finish to evolve all of the big key topics we talk about here.
Yeah, totally. And what they've taught me, actually, and how the evidence has guided me, but I've learned from them, and it's,
And you're not paying any lip service when you're saying about what they've taught you, because I've read the first couple of chapters. I've been lucky to have a read. And that second chapter, when you talk about, I think you call the kid Max or something, I don't know what he's called in the book, it's amazing. It's stirring. I'm looking to it now, it's actually the way you learn from him. And that's the kid that you've always said, and you've mentioned a couple of times, the pod has taught you the most. It's amazing. And then I'm not a big reader, I'm not going to lie. I love podcasts. Lucky that I'm here. But what I do love is I was going through it. There's just genuine practical things in there. There's great summaries in there. There's great strategies. The theory's an easy read. There's a lot of you in it. There's a lot of your family in it and stuff. Yeah. It's really, it's not a clinical medical book as I would think in my head. It's just this easy read. It's like listening to the podcast. But if you're a reader, or if you know someone that isn't a podcast listener, I've got mates that don't like podcasts. They like reading and highlighting things and stuff. Particularly my partner. She loves that.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It really is. It's just like listening to the pod, but it's just got all that practical stuff in it.
Yeah, it's really funny. One of the hardest things for me was changing all the details, like the names of the kids, because I just know them so well, which is a very funny story. I'll tell you the second half of the story first, and then I'll tell you the first half. But I got asked to record the audiobook. Well, they said, do you want to, or do you want us to get someone who actually knows how to do this to do it? And I was like, do you know I've got a podcast? I'm going to know. I'll walk in there and they'll be like, can you read all of our other books? It turns out that's not true. And the poor guy in the audio booth was like, just kept stopping me. He's like, so yeah, Billy, don't read it. And anyway, so he taught me over 3 days how to do this. But it got to the point where I'm literally reading this, and I've written it, like, and know these kids really well. I'm not exaggerating, and you'll hear it in the audiobook. I'm like sobbing while I'm reading about these stories because I know these kids, and it's just, there's especially the second half of the book. It's just, I felt sorry for the audio guy because I'm sure he was like, I wish this guy had chosen a professional voice reader to read the book.
Billy, do you think I could sub in on a couple of ones and act like Dr. Billy Garvey?
Yeah, totally.
Do you reckon next time you get a bit fatigued, just roll all the old bones into the corner and nick in and just see how we go?
It's like, do you ever hear about how Tom Hanks got his brother to do all the dolls? So for Toy Story?
No.
So you know the dolls had like the Woody doll, you pull the cord and it's like, his brother did it all because he just handballed it to his brother. He's like, mate, Mattel or whatever want to do all this voice recording for all these toys from Toy Story. Yeah. Can I sub you in so that you can? And it's actually his brother's voice. I just thought that's so funny.
You got family paid, mate.
Yeah. But just, you don't sound enough like Tom. But it's So the funny story, I might give you I'll give you my Griswold. The Winslow, the book is, thank you to the PCP community, the book has done really well. So even
if you actually go and look, it's done better than well, Billy. It's the number one book in the country on Penguin or Amazon?
Yeah, on the charts. I don't know if it's still there, but it knocked off actually Annalise's favourite cookbook. Which is a great cookbook.
My partner bought the cookbook 3 times last week. I'm not kidding. It's on our mantelpiece, stacked up 3 times. So I don't know how you've managed to knock it off.
Well, she's going to have to buy my book 4 times. but
I'm sure you'll sign them all as well.
But so the funny bit about the story is that my Winslow is like that, and it's great. My Griswold is that I got asked to go to the Penguin Studios to record this in Melbourne. It's part of Melbourne that I don't really know, the other side of the river where all the posh people live. And I was like, cool, just so you guys know, I've got to come straight from something else. I'm going to be about 10 minutes late. And they're like, that's totally fine. And I get there, and I'm like 10 minutes late, but they knew that. Cannot find the place. The address they've given me is a bike store. Oh, yeah. So I'm like, this is weird. So I call the number, no answer. Send a text, don't hear back from them, email and go, I'm out the front of this bike store. Where's this studio? I'm feeling really bad because I'm late, and so the clock's ticking. I look at the building next to me, I'm like, oh, Studio 66, this must be it. Like, we're at a recording studio. I roll in there. This woman comes out, and I'm like, oh, hey, I'm Billy. I think I'm in the right place. Like, I'm recording an audiobook in a studio. Is that here? And she's like, no, hun, this is a place you pay to have sex. And I literally had walked into a brothel.
There you go.
Yeah. But she was so nice that she came out with me and helped me find it.
Okay.
So
was it nearby?
It was in the bike store. So you go in the bike store and there's a door that takes you up above the bike store where Penguin Studios are, or whoever they use for recording. And I'm just like, that would have been great in the email. Just like, I was like, what are the chances that it's hard to find the studio, but next to it is a business with studio
on the title? How many people walk in there, I wonder?
Yeah, I'm not sure. But yeah, she was so nice, and I was just like, I couldn't. So it's funny, I had to re-record the intro because I was still like, that was still going through my head when I rolled in there and recorded the first bit of the book. I was just like, you couldn't write that I rolled in there. So yeah, it's good, but that's probably me on the Grizzlies and Winslow. I've got it. Let's see what you've got actually.
I got a little Winslow. It was a journey, Billy. I'm sitting there in bed. You know, when the kid walks in and you're sort of sitting in bed and you're like, no one can see me right now, but I'm like, you're sitting there like going,
eyes closed,
closed, and then the face, you sort of stir and go, and they're like in your face, and daughter goes, can you draw me a cupcake, a butterfly, and a heart? And I'm like, yeah. Go get it for me. Go get me a crayon. Go get Dad a crayon. So I start doing the whole, here you go, darling. There you go. She comes back. She cuts all that and brings it back to me. I'm like, oh, it's really sweet. She goes, you come draw me another one. And I do the whole, no worries, darling. I get up, walk into her room. It's like 6 in the morning on a Tuesday. It's 4 degrees. And I'm sitting there, I end up doing the whole you're sort of like on your knees and you're sort of like lying just with your chest over their bed and you're just sort of like sitting there with your face turned and they're doing the whole playing on the ground. Like, come and play with me. You're like, no, I'll play from here. And you're sort of half asleep. Totally. And she busts out, this is my daughter, Ron, she busts out this R on the page and I sort of go, what's that? She goes, She goes, is that an R? And I'm like, yeah. And I go, and she goes, what are you doing? She goes, I'll spell my name. She's written like M's and Q's and like random everything. And I go, do you want to write your name? She goes, yeah. And then I'm on this journey, Billy, for the next 3 minutes. I'm like, do the circle for the Ron and do the N and the I. And they got the end of it. So what started as me just like no interest in parenting or participating in what was going on, to be honest, 6 a.m. She wrote her name and I was blown away. I'd never seen her write it before. It guided her the whole way through. Show the M was backwards and the E had 4 lines, all this stuff. But
yeah, wow.
I was like, I'm waking up mum at 6:05. I'm getting a tattoo. It's that. I'm getting a tattoo. I was like, all just
She's doing the same thing. One eye open. Hun,
get a tat. No worries. But it was just a really fun.
Yeah,
it was just one of those things where you just no interest. You're like, I don't want to be doing this. And then all of a sudden you're just on this little journey. Anyway, it was a real roller coaster, Billy.
It's amazing. God, Ron's gorgeous. God, you do her voice well.
So intense.
Yeah.
In your face.
Yeah,
anyway.
She's beautiful. She's a beautiful soul.
That's it.
And yeah, have you got any Grizzies?
No Grizzies. I'm enjoying things at the moment. I mean, there's always a Grizzy there, but nothing worth calling out beyond what is just in my day-to-day Griswolds.
Well, it's good because it's actually a really good segue to the topic, which is attachment. Now, I'll talk about very quickly why I picked attachment, and then I'll talk about the movie and we'll discuss that. But attachment is probably where I should have started. I started with Home Alone because there wasn't a lot of thought at the start. But
why is attachment first?
So this is the foundational component of our development that predicts our life course in terms of our relationships. And yeah, there's phenomenal. We'll talk about the research and everything. But the reason it's here now is 2 reasons. I'm really struggling with this at the moment. This is people have heard the pressure that has been experiencing as a family, and I'm really struggling with attachment.
You're struggling with this at the moment?
Yeah, actually as an adult, but I'm talking more about with my gorgeous kids. And so this is a bit of a selfish one where I'm just like, this is kind of what I need to focus on. But I did a talk recently and there was people waiting to talk to me afterwards. By the way, I just love talking to people. Someone came up to me the other day. I was like, I feel really bad saying hi. I was like... and they're always like, well, I better go. So
Billy's like, whoa, hold on, hang around.
Tell me more about your kids. So anyway, but there was this lovely guy, really well dressed, older guy, really beautiful jacket, bow tie,
older
everything
guy,
was
50?
matching. Bit older maybe.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, just really well dressed. And he's just standing there holding a beautiful briefcase. He's just listening to me do the talk, but off to the side, just watching, not really close. So I was when I was talking to people, I was watching him on my corner and I was like, I've got to talk to that guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's amazing. His name's John Hendry and he's been for decades doing work with schools and different groups around the science of this. He's got all these accolades and he's just a beautiful human. And he kind of came up to me and was like, talk was great, let's do something together, all this stuff. But I've been chatting to him about certain things and attachment has been a big thing. And attachment is our solution to a lot of what's going wrong in the community. So we're going to talk about it as I'm going to try and explain it well and give some of the key concepts and practical application for it. But I imagine the questions are going to be quite powerful for this one. So once we've gone through it, it's also a beautiful movie pairing.
Oh, can we talk about the movie?
Yeah.
Are we doing the movie now?
Yeah,
and then we'll get into
the movie.
Is that all right?
Yeah.
Oh, Michael Mann. Gritty LA.
Favourite Michael Mann movie?
I do love Collateral.
Collateral.
I do. I think that was my turnaround for Tom Cruise, really gritty Tom Cruise. It's great. The shootout. I just love the scale and I love he just does LA so well. It's great and it takes you places that Henry was like, this is LA. I'm like, yeah, when they go to the, what they call them, the chop shop where they're stealing the car, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
She goes in there and she's like, wow, this is amazing. And I was like,
yeah, he tells the beautiful the city as a character.
Yeah,
in the movie.
yeah,
and
it's
Michael
amazing.
Mann's, famous for that.
Yeah,
and this is the end. We didn't use the end scene. I had 4 or 5 scenes. I cut 3 of them and only decided this morning which one we're going to use. But he knows how to end a movie. Last of the Mohicans. I don't know if you can remember the end of that, but it's phenomenal. It's where they're just running along the cliff trying to save people, and it's just phenomenal. I'd want to figure out a way to do that movie. But anyway, so Heat is, it's quite an amazing movie. It didn't get any awards, but it's a masterpiece. And people will know the classic. This was the first time De Niro and Pacino had shared a scene together.
Yep.
And they were both like just at the top of their game.
Yep.
And so it was really famous for that. There's 2 famous scenes that share both of them. The cast is phenomenal. Val Kilmer,
strong silent type.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to figure out who gets to be him in the Photoshop. but he's phenomenal. And I don't know, what do you think this movie's about?
Oh, what do I think it's about? A bit of brotherhood in there. I just think both the police and there's not a lot of part of me is like there's not a lot of difference between the police and the robbers in it.
There isn't, is there?
Yeah, they're a really tight brotherhood. They go above the law, like they do a few things that are outside the bounds of law, it feels like. Obviously the robbers do, but the cops are like just means to an end. We got to get it done, whatever it takes. So
what does it take?
What
does it take to get it done? What's the price you pay if you're the cop or the robber in this movie?
Well, he's I'm on my 3rd marriage on the way out. Like it takes everything. Costs you everything. Costs you your family.
Yeah, all your relationships.
And attachment, which is obviously... now I'm saying it. So you didn't tell me the topic until... Because I said, give me the topic. And you're like, not give me the topic. I said, I need the topic. But the attachment, obviously, now I'm thinking about it. You got Robert De Niro with his famous line, like, you got to be able to walk out on... So when you feel the heat around the corner, you got to be able to walk out in 30 seconds flat. That's the discipline, Billy.
That's the discipline.
That's the discipline.
Yeah. And what do you think when he says that line?
Oh, it's pretty cool.
It's very open and honest of you. I was hoping you said that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. This is something like it's I'm attracted to it. It's not a world I live in. It take me 30 years. I can't walk out at the moment. But so my point is it's really cool. I got to say.
Totally. So I will have succeeded if by the end of this recording you do not think it's cool.
I can see why it's not cool, but I think it's cool when Robert De Niro,
it's a classic.
He's got that
it's a classic
beautiful hair in this.
masculine thing.
Hair?
Yeah.
He looks just. He's like a working man's criminal, like a smart man's criminal. He's amazing.
Yeah, cool. Totally. But that's the thing. They're cool. They're so cool. And this masculine, idolization of, that's the discipline.
But as he said, he's not this, I don't say it, born to lose sticker tattooed across my head.
Yeah, you see me robbing liquor stores with a born to lose tattoo across my chest.
Exactly. He's that, but it's almost the same as Tom Cruise's character. They're slick dress robbers and crims. Something about it.
Yeah, well, Collateral's another one where... So attachment, because I want to stay on the movie for a bit more, but attachment in a simplistic way, you either have secure attachment or insecure attachment. Insecure attachment is a really big predictor of mental illness and problems in later life. And every single character in this movie has insecure attachment except for one of them. Okay. Who's the one that has a healthy way of thinking about relationships?
Ashley Judd.
No, but good guess. Why doesn't Ashley Judd? What do we see with Ashley Judd's character?
She's drawn back to Val Kilmer a lot.
Do you want to be married to her?
Do I want to be married to her?
Yeah, do you want is she a good partner?
Yeah, she's kind of, I don't know, she's kind of ride or die, Billy, as a character.
He's ride or die too, isn't he?
He's ride or die.
What does he say?
Dominic.
The sun sets and rises with her.
Yeah.
He can't leave her.
The romance of a movie I'm loving here. I've realised practically I'm not in for it, but I'm like,
why is it not her? There's 2 reasons it's not her.
I don't know.
So she cheats on her.
I forgot about that with Hank Azaria. I forgot about that. Yeah, right.
So she cheats on him and it's chaotic.
Yeah.
Now there's 2 kids in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
They've got a kid.
Yeah,
you never see the kid, really.
No.
The kid has no real screen presence.
No.
But it's chaos. They throw stuff in the room that he's in. They're going out, not even thinking about the kid.
Yeah.
And so that's insecure attachment.
Yeah.
She's willing to leave, the intimate relationship for someone else.
Yeah, okay. I forgot all about Hank Azaria.
No, but the reason you said her is because the scene with her where Val Kilmer comes and he warns her is phenomenal. She deserves an Oscar for it.
It's amazing.
Yeah, in her scene, people hopefully go and watch it. If you haven't seen this movie, it's amazing.
It's a great film.
But essentially, there's this Ashley Judd scene, probably at the top of her game, where Val Kilmer comes, but it's a trap. And she goes out on the balcony and warns him.
Yeah.
And the way that she acts that with hardly any lines is phenomenal. And Val Kilmer's amazing in this. So it's not her. Who's the other kid in the movie?
Natalie Portman.
Yeah. What do you think about her?
Phenomenal.
Yeah. What do you think about her character's story?
It's so sad from the first scene.
Yeah, totally. Why is it sad?
Because of her father, who she's the way she responds to having. I can't remember. She has to find her shoes or something.
I thought they were shoes, barrettes. It's a hair clip. I had to look it up.
She needed her barrettes because if she didn't have her barrettes, like Dad would be upset, sort of thing. Or she wasn't ready to go. Like it was. Yeah,
so Dad's coming to pick her up to take her to ballet. She can't find her barrettes.
Dysregulates, and it's just horrible. Yeah. It's such a hard.
I almost used it. I cut that scene, but we're not going to use it. No. So start of the movie, Al Pacino and his current wife, Natalie Portman's mum, getting ready for the day. Natalie Portman comes up and says, "I can't find my barrettes. Dad's going to be here soon. Help me." Mum ignores. This is really important for attachment. Mum ignores. Is reading a paper, not even looking at her. She escalates, starts breaking down and melting down. She drops the paper and goes to her.
She does a great job.
After the fact. She doesn't catch her early. That's really unhealthy attachment because Natalie Portman is learning, I have to escalate and melt down for you to connect and to be in tune with me.
What scene are you picking for this thing?
Not that one. But, we hear Natalie Portman's dad actually never came.
Yeah.
So once again, unpredictable, chaotic relationships, insecure attachment. And we see Natalie Portman tries to kill herself.
Yeah.
And who does she go to? Where does she go and do it?
Vincent.
Knowing, so not her dad, not her mum.
No.
She goes to him because he's the closest thing to a caregiver that she has.
Yeah.
Which shows how unhealthy and insecure her relationships with her mum and her dad are. Her mum's taking drugs, her mum's high, her mum's doing all this stuff. They have a really dysfunctional relationship. So he's on, I'm on the downslope of my third marriage or whatever he says. She comes in and is like, I almost picked another scene where she comes in and is like, you're 4 hours late. The dinner's cold. What's going on? And he's like, you got to realise there's dead bodies I'm looking after, all this stuff, because for him, that trumps the relationship. His identity, just like De Niro's identity, is caught up in the cat and mouse chase, isn't it?
Yep.
So both of them. So they have really insecure attachment, both those characters, both their partners, except...
Hang on.
Sorry.
Edie.
Yeah.
Edie, of course.
Yeah.
Yes. So the girl who Robert De Niro meets in the bookstore.
Mm. Yeah. Who they know from the bookstore, and then they're at the diner.
She's the normal person in the whole film.
She's the only normal person.
Not normal, attached, normal.
Yeah, she's the only person with secure attachment, because what does he say to her on the balcony? He says, I almost picked this scene but didn't. He said, I can tell you had a good family.
Yeah.
Because he says, my mum died a long time ago.
Don't know where my dad is.
And I got a brother somewhere. Classic trauma, insecure attachment. She's healthy, seeks attachment to him. Babies do this, adults do this. She has an attachment-seeking behaviour. She sits next to him at the diner and talks to him and reaches out, seeks proximity. Little babies do this. He almost blocks her, doesn't he?
Oh, yeah, aggressively.
So that's an insecure attachment approach. He's avoidant. He blocks her, but then for some reason he lets her in. And it's probably the first healthy relationship he's had. And then what happens at the end of the movie? He's going to go away with her. So he's got this fantasy of algae that are iridescent in Fiji. But he lives a life with no furniture. Val Kilmer comes to his apartment. He says, why is there no furniture here? He's not invested in anything. He's only going to help save Val Kilmer's marriage because he needs Val Kilmer. So in insecurely attached individuals, every relationship is transactional. I'm only friends with you because you help me with this. If you're not helping me with this, the relationship ends because it is not a securely attached one. Now, Edie has this devastating scene. Now, the movie, which I didn't pick either, the back of the hotel. So what happens to Robert De Niro? Why does he go to the hotel?
Because he cannot let go of Waingro. He has to get Waingro.
Yeah. So
he's home free. Why does he go?
Yeah, because he has insecure attachment and he sacrifices a relationship and Fiji, everything's set. He's out, he's free, he's going to have the life with Edie. But revenge trumps it for him. His identity is so caught up in this that he sacrifices it all to go and chase Waingro. Now, what does Al Pacino's character do? He's sitting in the emergency department. Natalie Portman has tried to kill herself. He saves her. He's sitting there with Natalie Portman's mum. They're reconciling, but saying it's not going to work. But they're having this beautiful connection, probably the most connected they've ever been. And then his pager goes off. And what does he do?
Like, I got to bail.
He sacrifices a secure attachment for justice. So he goes to the hotel. So both of them go to the hotel and sacrifice healthy relationships for this idolized identity that they have, that I seek revenge and I seek justice. Now, Heat is actually a love story. It's about a lack of love and attachment in all the relationships except for the one between De Niro and Pacino. So it's the first time that they've genuinely seen themselves in someone else. And that is a key of attachment.
You see yourself in someone else.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about, let's hold the movie for a second. It's very quickly, there's phenomenal attachment. The cook, what does the cook say? The cook gets out of jail. He's got this beautiful partner and wife.
There to support him.
I'm going to do this. First day of work, boss is an asshole. I'm going to take 25% of your money. You're cleaning toilets, doing all this stuff. End of the day, wife sits with him.
He's drunk at the bar.
Says, can you do this? He says, I haven't invented a hard day I can't do, or something like that. It's a beautiful quote. And you think he's in. The line's probably better than that. But you think he's going to make it. But then what happens? De Niro comes and says, we want to go and we want to do this with you.
Oh, sorry, gang. I think we had a slight technical difficulty there. The worst thing could have possibly happened. We lost my camera. So we're now back. Yeah, no podcast without Nick's camera. It's the one thing in my contract I've got with Billy. But we're just going to pick it up, Billy, with a bit of theory on attachment. So love the run-through we've just had around sort of the movie and the film and how it sort of all connects in there. But what is attachment?
Yeah, so
we're doing a topic on attachment. What is it?
Yeah. So we talked a little bit about how it's the underpinning of everything, but we should talk about like what it is. So yeah, there's a guy called John Bowlby who was a British psychiatrist or psychologist, I think actually. And back in the 60s, he challenged like Freud's belief that our infant self seeks out interactions with others because of the rewards that it gains out of it, such as food and nutrients and all that stuff.
Yep.
What he proposed was that actually we are wired from birth to connect with people. Now, we have to be. And from an evolutionary perspective, babies that were better at connecting were more likely to survive.
Yes,
because
makes sense. Yep.
You need at least one person to keep you alive.
So it is attachment connecting?
Yeah. So yes. So it's having a deep connection with another individual that sustains space and time. So, yeah, you seek proximity. We'll talk a lot about proximity.
Early on, physical proximity.
Yeah, but it doesn't. So, and what we'll talk about is that they talk about a key attachment stage between 6 months and 3 years of age is this big window of attachment. But actually, we keep developing our attachment and our attachment. The biggest there's two big misconceptions about attachment. It's very frustrating because a lot of people talk about attachment. Yeah. But not a lot of people have read the key literature on this because there's tomes on it, and I've spent a lot of time in this. But yeah, well, this is like Bowlby wrote. Yeah, there's a book in here about it. But Bowlby wrote about this, but people will know as well. Bowlby, they argue, is one of the most prominent minds in the mental health space. And this was a long time ago. I think he passed away in the 90s, but his contribution has been phenomenal. But he also had a student who then became his colleague called Mary Ainsworth, and we're going to talk about some of her research. But attachment does not attachment doesn't end at the end of that window, and we can change our attachment. If I'm being 100% honest, I probably had a rough upbringing that meant that I didn't have healthy attachment, but my mum mainly did some phenomenal things to maintain security for me. Mm-hmm. So little babies need to feel safe and secure. From 6 months of age, from birth, they will seek out attachment, but from 6 months of age, they will seek attachment with usually one person. Okay. Then they will seek attachment with other people. It's usually mum, just because they spend the most time, but also the most intensity interactions with them.
So I want to get to secure attachment and insecure attachment because you've talked about that, and I was like, whoa, okay, that sounds interesting. It sounds like there's this key window to gaining attachment early, but if that window can you build attachment later?
Yes,
Billy?
Definitely.
So
you have to approach it from an attachment perspective. So that's where we fall down a lot. All these kids running around that are robbing places and carrying knives around, a lot of these kids I see in clinic, they have insecure attachment. A lot of the violent men out in the community have insecure attachment. Okay. A lot of the lonely people with mental illness have insecure attachment.
All right, talk to me about secure and insecure attachment then.
Yeah, let's go there. So Mary Ainsworth in the 80s, she was amazing. She was Bowlby's student and then became his colleague. She actually had a partner that she was married and she divorced, who was also an academic and a clinician that she followed around the world. So she got to meet these phenomenal academics at a time when they used to separate men and women, would have to have lunch in a different place. Yeah. So she did it in a very difficult time. She became a professor when it would have been really hard to as a female. Ainsworth was amazing because she travelled the world. She went to Uganda and embedded in their attachment principles. So, you know, this is a universal truth across cultures that little babies seek attachment. She then came back to the States. She did what was called the strange situation, a study that has been one of the most prominent and amazing things for us to understand attachment. And
what's the setup?
So the setup is a 1-year-old kid goes into a room with mum.
With mum, yep.
2 chairs in the room and some toys on a table. Pretty much 1 year.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Then what happens is a stranger comes in.
Okay.
Every one of these gaps, there's 8 steps, lasts 3 minutes. I won't do the 8 steps because it's too much detail. Mum goes in the room with the 1-year-old. Yep. Puts the 1-year-old down, sits on one chair.
Yep.
Stranger comes in, looks at the kid, interacts a little bit, sits on the other chair. Mum leaves. 1-year-old's there on their own with a stranger. Mum comes back in. I think they both leave. Stranger comes in. Mum comes in. Stranger leaves. The key to attachment is what the child does when mum comes back. Secure attachment is defined by the behaviour that the child will show when the primary caregiver returns. Now, what do you think is a healthy thing for that little one to do? Beautiful. Arms up, pick me up. What's their mood? You've gone from Ronnie. You pick Ronnie up from daycare.
They light up. They do light up. Yeah.
But your arms, that's so beautiful what you've done because that is actively seeking attachment.
Yeah.
That is healthy attachment. You are a secure, safe relationship for me. I've been here on my own in a strange situation with a stranger or on my own, and I see you as a safe harbour to come back to. Now, that never stops through life.
Okay.
It's just that when we are from 6 months of age, we are building how we feel about the world through those relationships and attachment opportunities.
So once that's established, that's a lock?
No, you can lose it.
How do you lose it?
By having experiences with primary caregivers and others that are not predictable and not safe and secure, that are erratic, like Natalie Portman with her mum coming down the stair looking for her barrettes. She is putting her arms up and saying, pick me up and hold me, and her mum doesn't until she completely escalates.
That is, she gets what she wants.
Yeah, and that is insecure attachment. Her dad never comes, that is insecure attachment.
When you say insecure attachment, because it's unpredictable.
Yeah. So there's three different, it doesn't really matter,
Sorry.
but there's
Yeah.
three different types of insecure attachment.
Yeah, gotcha.
There's
Well done.
anxious avoidant, anxious ambivalent, and disorganized. Often avoidant, you come back in, I kind of look at you, not really interested. I don't put my arms up. I don't seek you out because I'm not sure. I don't want to commit to it because I don't think you'll pick me up. And a way that I protect myself is I don't put my arms out. Avoidant, I move away from you when you come back in the room. Disorganized, I go to the stranger. We meet kids in clinic who go to the stranger, and they go to the stranger because they haven't learnt what a healthy relationship is. And this is people that overcommit as adults to relationships. They go to toxic people, they go to unhealthy people that they know will hurt them because they haven't been shown that they deserve better.
But also because that's some sort of predictability.
Well, they're often the other person is disorganized and chaotic as well. Shows love, takes it away. It's conditional, it's transactional. You do what I want, I will soothe you, I'll calm you, I'll support you and love you. You don't do what I want, I will remove that. We do that as parents, we do that in our relationships.
Okay.
It's really important that in that first window, kids have predictability. Now, this doesn't mean all the time. A perfect example of this, 2 nights ago, Annalise's sister came here.
Oh, yeah.
Yvette's just turned 3, made a big fuss and we flew home. Both of us got home a bit early, still sun setting. I'm like, we're going to meet her at the train. We're on the balance bike, roll down there, make a big deal of it.
Yeah, cool.
Evie sees her. Evie doesn't have a lot of key attachment figures in her life because of our chaotic lives and I just don't have family around. And Evie throws herself at her at the train, walks back in her arms, talks about the moon. It's beautiful. Sitting there having dinner together, they're sitting next to each other. Yvette's having dinner and Annalise's sister is talking about how big a girl and grown up she is. Evie shuffles up next to her and wants to sit on the chair with her. Annalise's sister says, no, you're a big girl. Evie shuts down, looks down at her feet, closes down, drops her shoulders, is sad. Attachment was challenged. It doesn't matter because I caught it, Annalise caught it, her sister didn't catch it, but it doesn't matter because then her sister spent the rest of the evening playing with her, lying in bed, reading stories to her and doing all those things. We are allowed to miss it if most of the time we don't. What that shows Yvette is there is someone who responds to her and cares about her. We haven't done a topic on parenting styles, but it is not a certain way we do it. We do it the way the kid needs us to. We watch what the kid seeks out. When do they seek proximity? How do they show us they want to connect? The text message I sent you 3 days ago was a proximity seeking attachment action that I did. I was thinking about you at work, looking forward to seeing him. I want to reinforce the attachment of this. I sent you a text and said, the week we record is always chaotic, but God, I look forward to seeing you in recording. That's an attachment reinforcing behaviour. Kids do it to us 100 times a day.
I didn't reciprocate, did I?
Yeah, you did. You were like, yeah, you texted me about some other stuff.
Yeah. All right. Sorry.
But our kids do that. So it doesn't matter that Annalise's sister missed the connection and she pulled away because we're not going to do it perfectly. We also have to role model the attachment coming back.
Yeah, so we shouldn't set boundaries on attachment opportunities.
No, what do you mean by setting
So I've done what Annalise's sister's done.
Yeah, we all do it all the time.
No, I mean, I haven't done it. I've probably done it today. You know, like, no, you can figure it out. I do that a lot.
Yeah. What do you do then?
Watch them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd probably go.
What
if
determines?
They get upset. Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
So
what you're actually describing is called circle of security. I think maybe we've talked about it. I can't remember. I was speaking to someone else. I was like, the hardest thing I have now is like
you speak a lot.
making sure that I don't say something I've said before. And she was lovely, actually. She's like, Billy, to be honest, when you say something again, I feel really proud that I know what you're saying. And I'm like, yeah, I know that. And I was like, oh, cool. That gives me a pass for like not having to make sure I'm not repeating myself too much.
Okay.
Circle of security, ideally, is these 3 amazing men took attachment theory and built a way to translate it into something that's really helpful. People should seek it out and you'll find a diagram. And what it shows is 2 hands cupped together, and that is a safe harbour. The child mentally and physically explores their environment from that safe harbour. Playground is the easiest way to describe it.
Yep.
Ron, new playground, sticks to you, boom, she's off. Her temperament is she enjoys novelty and new things. It's a component of her core personality trait. She seeks it out, but she checks on you. Now, the most important thing that you do is you celebrate her and enjoy what she's doing. And you do that. I've seen you. It's amazing. Then she succeeds in going from you. The most important thing about circle of security and attachment theory is that when they struggle, they see us, we respond to them, we comfort them and support them, and we come back in. We are a safe harbour. Lots of kids don't have that. We miss it, we overreact, we underreact, we tell them to toughen up, we overcomfort them. We've got to adjust constantly to that all through the life course. And I will meet, all the teenagers I've met this week, almost all of them but one, have insecure attachment. So they need to find relationships that are healthy, predictable, comforting, not transactional, not conditional, that respond to them. It's a really, really important key principle.
So it's not just between parents and kids.
No. So what often happens is from 6 months of age, this is why like a lot of stranger danger stuff comes in. And that's why the strange situation, it wasn't to terrify the child. It was to add something in that was uncertainty and to leave them on their own with it and then see how they would respond when mum comes back. But it's not just that. It's, you and I have a relationship. You and Henry have a relationship. Our intimate relationships in life are built either with secure or insecure attachment. I've had a loss of attachment with lots of key primary figures in my life through awful stuff that's happened. And because of that, I'm hesitant to invest in future relationships because I protect myself. Yeah. I'm avoidant and ambivalent. I'm not disorganized,
Oh, God.
But I can heal that just the same way that kids can heal it when they've had traumatic upbringings. It just takes a lot of work. What we often do with kids, we've seen all these kids. One of the fellows saw, I think, a 6-year-old boy. Mum died when he was 2. His dad is in prison. He's never met him. His grandfather was his only primary caregiver, and his grandfather died a year ago. And so he's lost everyone. He's got as insecure attachment as it can get. He's violent and aggressive and threatens everyone and tries to attack people and avoids any connection with anyone because he has insecure attachment. Everyone wants us to fix his behaviours. What he actually needs is attachment, healthy, secure attachment. That's what all these kids need. Almost all of them are missing it. Lots of us are missing it. People would say 30 to 40% of adults have insecure attachment. One thing that is common in kids and adults is that sometimes if we can't attach to people, we attach to things.
Okay.
Little kids, I'm really into that toy. I'm really into this.
I'm into that video
I'm really
game.
into food. I eat lots of food. Saw a kid, 130 kilos yesterday, hasn't left his room in 2 years. He's a teenager. He's gorgeous. Gorgeous. We were talking about him beforehand. I didn't want to leave the room. Sat in the bed next to him and was like, I want to be this kid's attachment figure. I can't because I'll also break that and make it worse. But it's this gorgeous kid and he has insecure attachment. And part of his, everyone's like, well, he needs to sort out his diet and all that stuff. No, he needs to sort out his attachment.
Oh, okay.
This is all these kids that I'm seeing. I want to go so deep in this. I'm trying not to give it too much. This is where a lot of the difficulties are in this. Now, the other thing, we'll save it for after the scene, actually. What were you going to say?
No, nothing.
How are we going? Because I don't want to run another.
Flooding into my head now, all these things. All right.
So it is, because what do you do when you, I won't force it out of you.
No.
When I feel like a relationship is threatened, I abandon it.
Yeah.
Because I have insecure attachment.
You're owning the outcome.
Yeah, I'm owning the outcome and it's too much risk to try and repair it.
Yeah.
So I do this. I talked about Spartacus last time.
Loved Spartacus.
I passionately passionately love people. But I've stopped doing it because the fracturing hurt me too much. This happens to so many adults and kids. This is attachment. It's the most important thing. We've talked a lot about self-esteem. We've talked a lot about courage. Attachment at its key is relationships. Now, what does Edie say to De Niro on the balcony? He asks her a question about, aren't you lonely? And he says, I'm alone.
But I'm not lonely.
That's bullshit. It's impossible. You could not be alone and still be lonely. You could not be alone and not lonely. We are social beings. It is wired into us. Anyone out there who doesn't have any connections with anyone and says they're not lonely is lying to themselves. We are built, the purest, highest level of joy we share and experience is with other people. It is not with things. It's not with accolades. It's not with wealth.
Hey, how do you promote? I've got a random specific question for you. Is that all right? But it might help someone listening out there. If you've got a kid that's really attached to technology, right? I reckon we're going to get this question. They're really attached to technology, that video game or YouTube or whatever. And that's what they do because they've got no other attachment. How do you promote and navigate them off that?
Yeah, I saw an 18-year-old 2 days ago that's playing 6 hours of video games a day.
How do you
He lives in one of the roughest suburbs of Melbourne and he doesn't go outside because there's gangs carrying knives and he knows them. He's really worried about his younger brother who's rolling out there with these gangs.
Yeah.
He's only playing video games. He loves video games. He's proud of his identity on GTA 5. He's got this huge wealth on it.
Okay.
He's a gorgeous kid. He's come from a hugely traumatic background.
Okay.
It's amazing that he sits there and thinks about his younger brother. His younger brother's, I see both of them, his younger brother is really worrying. I'm worried about his younger bro. This is a gorgeous kid who has no relationships in his life. And if you met him, you would want to be friends with him. You'd be like, this is a gorgeous human. But he doesn't know how to have a healthy relationship because of his insecure attachment. So I've got to find, what I'm actually going to try and do is get him a job. Because if he's in a workplace, people will gravitate towards him. He's just had such a negative narrative around him that he's just avoided everyone.
And if the kid's younger and they can't work? Sorry, I'm just trying to think about someone.
100%. It's relationships. I saw another kid this week who performs at a national level athletically. Yeah. He's had this awful experience happen in his sport and everyone at school, you know what he said to me? He goes, I walk around the playground and I know there's groups that I can stand with, that if I don't say anything, they'll let me stand with them. Anyone else, I can't talk to them. This guy is like a phenomenal athlete and his mum's gorgeous and that's how he sees the world. He's like, my sport is everything because that's his attachment. Literally, he said to me, he's like, that's what I do at school. I walk around. I know there's a group of kids that they'll let me stand next to them as long as I don't say anything. It's like this good-looking, athletic, really bright kid. It just breaks my heart. It's like, I can't get him a job. And he's doing the sport thing. The sport thing is almost hurting him. It's protecting him in a way. It's almost hurting him as well because he's like, it doesn't matter. I've got this sport. It's heartbreaking stuff, mate. Like heartbreaking stuff.
So what do you do?
So you find healthy attachment. You build it. It takes time. You find relationships. A primary caregiver is ideal. A lot of the kids I meet don't have it or the primary caregiver can't do it. One of the kids I've mentioned, I said to Mum, how are you coping? She's not. Her answer was, I'm fine. She's not fine. I can't get to her. It was one of the fellows was seeing her. So there's not my patient, but Mum is not fine, so it's not going to be her. I've got to find that kid another caring, predictable, consistent, responsive relationship that will not be conditional.
And that's probably going to be tough for a kid who's, sort of young, 10, 11, 12, right? I'm just asking, I'm like, so we should start with an adult that's not the parent?
You can do it at any age, yes. Yeah. The teens are the hardest group to do this with. Yeah. Because the most important people to them in the world are other teenagers.
But if they don't have other teenagers, you've got to start with an adult.
Yeah. Because often they're the safest. And that's the easiest way to do it. It's very hard to ask another 15-year-old to ensure that they're safe and predictable.
That's what I'm saying. It's going to be really tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is really important. I imagine we're going to get a lot of questions about people experiencing their own childhood or their current adult relationships and things like this, but I don't want to blow out another 2 hours. Should we go to the scene?
Let's go to the scene.
So you never wanted a regular type life?
The fuck is that? Barbecues and ball games?
Yeah.
This regular type life, that your life?
My life? No, my life. No, my life's a disaster zone. I got a stepdaughter so fucked up because her real father's this large type asshole. I got a wife. We're passing each other on the downslope of a marriage, my third. Because I spend all my time chasing guys like you around the block. That's my life.
Guy told me one time, don't let yourself get attached to anything you are not willing to walk out on in 30 seconds flat if you feel the heat around the corner. Now, if you're on me and you got to move when I move, how do you expect to keep a marriage?
Well, that's an interesting point. What are you, a monk?
I have a woman.
What do you tell her?
I tell her I'm a salesman.
So then if you spot me coming around that corner, you're just gonna walk out on this woman? Not say goodbye?
That's the discipline.
That's pretty vacant, no?
Yeah, it is what it is. It's that or we both better go do something else, pal.
I don't know how to do anything else.
Neither do I.
I don't much want to either.
Neither do I.
Such a good scene.
Do you still think it's cool?
No. It's not sad.
Yeah, it's really sad, isn't it?
Yeah, I just had never thought about it before, but Robert De Niro's taking cues from clearly another criminal, and that's what he's living his life by, that sort of guidance. Where he's like, I heard from a guy said to me once, you know, if I feel the hate, well, the hate's obviously criminal activity or cops around the corner or another criminal trying to get you. And it's like, that's what he's living his life by.
So that's avoidant attachment. Stuff gets hard, I bail.
Just bail.
Both of them. Both of them bail on marriages, both of them bail on this. There's a big argument, a lot of theory behind the divorce rate so high because of all of our insecure attachment and our inability to repair fractured attachment. But yes, and this is the scene where they finally find someone. And what is the final scene of the movie? Talked about the hotel. What happens after the hotel?
I'm trying to think the final shots. Yeah, it's just the early hours of the morning.
No, where they're chasing each other.
Yeah, but it's like,
Sorry.
but it's, well, yeah.
Yeah,
it's,
well, you're thinking the sunrise. It's the lights of the planes
Yeah.
that blind, that he thinks is going to blind Pacino.
Yep.
But what actually kills De Niro?
The shadow.
His shadow, himself. His shadow, the dark side of him. That's what kills him.
Yeah.
And they were always going to, one of them was always going to kill the other person.
Yep.
And this is a bit too poetic for most of the listeners. But one of my favourite poets is Oscar Wilde.
Go on.
And the Ballad of Reading Gaol is this
right.
beautiful poem. Each man kills the thing he loves.
There you go.
The coward does it with a kiss, the brave man with the sword. And that's what they're doing in this scene. Because what does Pacino do after he kills him?
Oh, you're testing me now.
He holds his hand.
That's right.
We've never seen any intimacy from Pacino. He only shows it to Natalie Portman when he carries her into the hospital in no other scenes. Picks her up from the side of the road and stuff, but he can see she's struggling. Doesn't show her any intimacy. Doesn't really show his wife any genuine intimacy. It's the first time he's shown anyone any intimacy when he's killed this guy, because he has to. You know, it's this beautiful time that they finally connect. They finally find each other. And they have to do this because their identity is so caught up in it. But it's the first time they both abandoned. De Niro abandons Edie because he can't give up this life. But they're both there for each other in these final moments. And a lot of people criticise how that scene ends and he shouldn't have held his hand. But I completely understand why he did. It's the first time that probably both of them in a long time have had a deep connection with someone else. And that's what attachment is about. It's about how do we find this for ourselves. How do we role model how important it is, how courageously we go into these relationships, how we practically repair them when they fall apart, including with our kids. Annalise's sister did that for the rest of the night. She didn't even know, but she just leant in and responded and flexed. We watch our kids. We are the safe harbour. We celebrate them leaving our side. When they need to come back, we're there for them. We're predictable and responsive. We should do that to our friends, our partners, the people that matter to us in our lives. It will protect all of us, our kids, each other. It's really important.
There'll be a lot of questions this week. I just tried to shoehorn in a few of my own to take up everyone's time. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot.
Yeah.
So, really sad now.
Well, don't be, because there's a path out. This is not set in stone.
Yeah, but I'm actually just sad about the movie as well.
Well, it's beautiful. I think the movie's poetry.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Different lens now.
Yeah, we see all these characters that are lost. And even Edie. Yeah, all of them. And Evie is shattered. The last scene with Edie, she gets up out of the car and can't believe he's leaving because it doesn't make sense to her because she's had secure attachment. She's had a healthy family. She's crying in the car because she realises that it's all for him. The cops are for him. The fire brigade's for him, everything. But she's still there for him. She stays in the car. She doesn't leave because she's got secure attachment. He looks at her. He's happy, but then sees Pacino. It's like, I'm out of here. If he was securely attached, he would have been arrested and realised, I'm not going to give up this woman, even if I'm in jail, because it's the first healthy relationship I've got. But he couldn't. He was so stuck to that bullshit discipline of if the heat's coming around the corner, you've got to be willing to drop whatever matters to you. Classic avoidant, insecure attachment. Anyway, I've probably been banging on a bit too much.
No, it's fine. You're not banging on. I'm just quiet because I've been holding back the tears for about 30 minutes now. You haven't made this one an easy one. It's all right. It's not meant to be easy. It's meant to be learning. It's just really sad. I'm just really sad honestly, hearing some of your stories, it made me sad. Like your personal stuff made me a bit sad.
Yeah, mate, to be honest, it makes me sad. But but the way that I deal with that is the kids I see in clinic, you know, and that's, I see that healing process and I get to journey with these kids. So these kids turn. That's the beautiful thing. Okay. Those 18-year-olds, like one of the 18-year-olds turned. He's a beautiful, gorgeous kid. He turned, and it's been one of the best things that I've seen in the last 2 years.
I'm sure you do. I'm sure you right the ship with them.
Yeah.
I mean, they ride the ship.
Yeah,
sure
totally.
You
I just get
them.
to watch them do it.
Yeah. But
so let's talk next week, bro. Well, we're going to go through. We're going to go deep in how you do that. How do you use attachment theory? How do you do that? Lots of questions. Once again, stories, tips.
Stories and tips. Love
What was
them.
the best stuff about? You know, we've evolved a little bit. So
complex ones. I want complex questions.
Yep, totally. More complex, the better.
Yep.
So send
buckle in. It's going to be a long one.
We'll see. I hope 2 hours and 13 minutes is the longest we've done.
No.
We'll see.
It's sort of long in the episodes. I don't feel close to the Joe Rogan either. I was like, maybe I'll feel like Joe Rogan. Or no.
Yeah, we're not getting any closer to that, are we?
Brilliant. Well done. This one is the best you've done with a movie. I'm trying to think back to I still think Pretty Woman.
Finding Nemo. I thought you said
Finding Nemo. No, Finding Nemo. Actually, probably still number one for me. But Pretty Woman, this is up there. Well done. Guys, that's it. Send through your questions at popcultureparenting@gmail.com or via our Instagram, popcultureparenting. Really looking forward to this one. I won't go over it again. We'll just talk about what we're really seeking question-wise. So, send them through, and the story is really critical. Thanks, Dr. Billy.
Thanks, mate.
Hey, don't let your mother smell that beer on your breath. She'll take it out on me.
I don't want to see you again for the rest of my whole life. I don't want to see anybody else either.
Who is your daddy and what does he do?
Just use your best judgment. We trust you.